how are you guys doing? So I made it to Chicago. Yay! Chicago's actually my second favorite city in the United States, by the way. So I am in Chicago and I have a special guest. We have been sitting here for, oh my, about 2 hours. It's been great. I am so glad that I got the chance to meet her. You guys ready to find out who it is? I don't think she needs any kind of formal introduction, so just come on in here. It's Vicky, you guys! Yay! So, hello.
Hello. Thanks for coming to meet me.
Oh, yes.
I think that's been the most exciting.
More forward. Sorry.
I think this has been the most exciting thing, is to get to meet her. When I've wanted to meet her for so long.
Oh.
I've been dying to meet you in person.
Oh, same here. I mean, I'm so glad that I reached out because she's so busy, as many of you know. Not only is she a video Patreon diva, she is a mom of 3 and has a very, very busy schedule. And so I'm just thankful that she was able to meet with me. It's only by chance that she had the date off, or her husband had a day off.
Yep.
So anyway, we've been just kind of chatting about all kinds of different things, and it's been just nice hanging out. And
Yes, I don't
Vicky.
get out much. This is very nice for me. Yes.
Oh, that's great. So, hey, so if you guys have any questions for her, I'm going to ask her a couple of questions, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to jump in and I'll try to ask them and she'll try to answer them for you. And so I guess one of the things I wanted to ask is she has been in the industry. She's probably the first really to come on and do YouTube videos about planners and journals. So tell us a little bit about that and when that was.
Sure. So I actually started in 2011. I started doing, hey Bree, how are you? I see you on there. Hi Sandra. So I started in 2011 and I started initially, sure. Hey Lori. So I started off doing beauty. So if you guys watched me back in the day, then I did beauty and felt like the industry was already saturated with beauty videos. And so I thought, what isn't out there that I also love? And it was planners and journals. And I did one video and I all of a sudden got a ton of people asking questions about it. And it's been that way since 2011. So
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And I had my daughter in 2012, who's going to be 7 in December. So if you guys have been with me that long, you have been following the journey with all my kids. So I've had all my kids like on YouTube, basically. I've been on there. So, and a lot of people have guessed like when I've been pregnant and things like that. So it's been a really fun journey to get to share with everyone.
So tell us one of the questions I wanted to ask, so that I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are interested in finding out. How do you have, because you are a prolific journaler.
Yes.
And she has such a love for journaling, and she always has since she was 8. A lot of us know about that because we've heard her speak about it. And she's very passionate about documenting her life as it happens. But what do you do having 3 very young kids, and you also work? She's not just at home with her kids, not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying her plate is so full, and yet she journals, and she showed me some of her journals, and there was so much it's just so fun to look at all her pages because it's full of writing and doodling. So how do you find that time having 3 little ones, her husband, and working?
I think it's first important to, well, it's like anything. If you really love something, you'll always find the time for it, no matter what. Whether I get up 10 minutes early or go to bed 10 minutes later, I never look at journaling as this chore. It's not a chore for me. It's always like a pleasure, and journaling doesn't really take more than 10-15 minutes. You can really get a lot done. If you were to really actually time yourself for 10 minutes of writing, you actually probably can write like 5 or 6 pages if you really think about it. I mean, journaling doesn't take very long, and my doodles are very simple. They're just to capture a moment or capture something. And I was just telling Rowena, I feel like this obsession to want to document things, because I feel like our minds can't hold on to everything. We can't possibly remember everything. We can't possibly, kind of relish all these moments that are so wonderful in life. So the best way to do that is to put them in a journal, and then you can later read them, and you can later look at them, and you can enjoy them later. And it's come true so many times, because so many times I've looked through old journals and I'm like, I forgot we did that. I forgot about these little details. I forgot that, I was happy with this, or I was upset with this, or anything like that. So there's been so many rewards with journaling that I think I just continue to do it because of all those rewards.
So do you think about your children when you're journaling? I mean, not just journaling
Sure.
about them, but how they're going to view this later, if they're going to look at it, and basically leaving something behind for them to see. Do you think about that?
Sometimes, a lot of it is for me, because I think sometimes with kids you can't assume like they're going to cherish and love these journals, because if they don't, that's okay. They don't have to. It's more for me, so it's for me to remember. It's for me to have these cherished memories, because they're my memories. My kids may remember it a different way, or my husband may remember it a different way. So they're my memories that I decided to cherish, and if my kids love them, that's great. If they don't, that's okay too. So it's more for me.
So how many journals do you have going right now?
Oh my gosh, I mean, you saw some of that. I mean, I have, until like the very last page is full in a book, it's an ongoing journal. So I mean, I think I brought for Rowena today, I think maybe I have like 5 or 6 just with me right now, and I am doing the One Book July right now, and I have several going there too. So I mean, endless, whatever I feel like working in at the time.
And that's one of the things that I found really inspirational, is that she works on any book that she wants to at any given time. She doesn't have any kind of rules for herself. So tell us a little bit about that philosophy of yours.
Sure. So I think it's more important for me to write it down than how I wrote it down or where I wrote it down. And I just never had a problem. Like, I never have been someone who had a problem with a blank page. Bring me all the blank pages in the world, and I think once you get going, it won't matter to you. I think once you just got to do it. And I see the question, if I'm keeping a journal for each child. I don't. I actually put them all in one. They're all in one book. I just felt like that's, again, a restraint. That would be me forcing myself to do something where I would think that each day I would have to fill in each notebook, and that's restraining myself. And whenever I do that, I feel like I am limiting, and then I wouldn't journal. It's just like with goals. I don't really set goals. I just kind of do these little sprints that I like Ryder Carroll calls in bullet journals. So I give myself like little attainable things. So if I journal, great, I keep doing it. If I set it up and said, I have 5 journals and I have to journal in each one every day, I probably wouldn't do it. I'd be setting myself up for failure.
And I think that's the thing that a lot of people have a hard time with, is because they have these rules on how they think they should journal, and how a journal should look, or how maybe it needs to look for social media and all that. And I don't see anything wrong with that to a certain degree. But
Right.
if it's going to stop you from doing the journaling, then what are you doing it for?
Right. Yeah.
And I love how you said that. It's not really for your kids per se, but it's for you, and how you feel today, and how you want to look back on your journaling and all that. I mean, I think in a sense that's I don't want to say revolutionary, but how many of us will admit to that we're not doing it for others? Because so many times we think we have to be doing things for others. Well, it's not. Here you hear her saying it's for her.
It's purely for me. Yeah, I mean, doing YouTube is for me. I do YouTube for me. I did it initially for me because I was not with other adults, and I felt like I needed to reach out, and YouTube has done that for me. So I do not feel selfish, and I do not feel selfish for taking the time to do it, because it brings me great joy, and I give a lot of myself throughout the day to my family and to my friends and others, and so this is what I do for me, and I love it, and I enjoy doing it.
And in turn, that joy that you are receiving on your own self, you're able to give out to others.
Right.
And so that just makes
which I have through YouTube.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people watch the videos and hopefully get joy from it. So
Yes, and we love your videos.
Thank you.
My journal is ugly first, and then it turns out pretty. I'll share on IG journal highlight reel for sure.
I don't think your journals are. I've seen your journal pages. I don't think they're ugly.
I think they're ugly.
I don't.
I'm just kidding.
I just don't think. I think we are critical of our own things. Like if I showed my work to Rowena and said this is ugly, she probably would think this is awesome. You know, just like when I look at her writing, I think it's awesome. And if I were to look at my own, I could think, I could do better. I think we're our own worst critics, and so we criticize ourselves. But really, I mean, the fact that you sat down to journal is all that matters. It doesn't. Aesthetics aren't. I don't think aesthetics need to be a part of journaling. It's just you do how you want to do you. It doesn't have to be. I don't know where that came from. The whole aesthetic part of journaling that is new to me since being on YouTube. I had never thought of journals being anything aesthetic prior to coming onto YouTube.
Right,
Really?
because we weren't showing it to anybody. It was just for us.
I mean, when I was a kid, I never thought about aesthetics. I put stickers in there that I wanted to put in there and doodles that I wanted.
Sandra says, I share pages here and there to encourage others. Yes, exactly. And that's why I think it's important that we share the journals that are what we would term as plain without drawings or anything, because that's real life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been trying to get through to people, is that sometimes if all you can do is just, it's a write-in only journal, it's beautiful. Even if your writing you don't think looks good or looks pretty or perfect, it's beautiful just seeing all of those memories on there in your writing because it's about you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fantastic thing.
That's
I like
great.
to draw
Yeah.
in mind.
Totally
that is real
agree.
life
Yep.
for me. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I, don't
totally.
put pressure on to create a pretty page. Oh, good. Banana stickers. LOL. Okay. And so
Totally, you're talking about the fruit bananas. Like some people take the fruit stickers from bananas and put them in their journals.
oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Mhm.
Any stickers, really, right?
I stick everything. I mean, Rowena opened up my journals, you guys, and everything was flying out of them because I have so much junk inside of them. Like things were just flying all over the place when she was opening them up.
But again, I love the fact that she just writes in any journal.
Mhm.
It doesn't really matter if it's in because you just like the paper, right?
I like
You
it,
feel
or like the size.
You feel like working on that size.
Right, I want to work, like, if I want to work in an A6, I work in an A6. If I feel like I want to be in an A5, I go to an A5. So I just go to my shelf and pick which one I want to work in at that time, and I just do it. It doesn't matter. Because you date everything.
That's amazing.
But everything is dated, so I know when I worked in it. And everything, I feel like every time I pick a new one up, it gives it a new life. So then when I go back and I look at it, I can look at the life of the journal. It's lived a different life for different periods of my time.
And I saw one of her journals. She's been working on it in it for like 5 years, and she doesn't want it to end. And it's getting towards the end of it.
And
But
I'm
it's
sad.
beautiful.
I'm very sad with it. Yeah, I have it. Wait, where do I have it? I'll find it.
Yeah. She says,
I
I love
brought
seeing
it
all the
back.
words on the page.
It's this guy. It's this guy right here. And I have tabs because I like tabs. And it started in 2014. It had started with just like pictures and journaling, and then it's evolved into a place where I could do, like, I did a calendar spread, and then I did doodles, and then I did,
It's kind of like bullet journal.
yeah, and then I did like a Fibonacci style in here, and yeah, more doodles. So you guys can see some, and here was doodles. I did my husband. This was like a cartoon of my husband. I thought I'd do a cartoon of him. And yeah, and so it's become like
It's
just
beautiful.
this ongoing, you know, whatever, doodles, journaling, writing. But there's tabs. You know, put pictures in here again. There's always tabs you can always find, and everything's always dated, so I know where it's coming from. It's a brick.
And see how inspiring that is to just be able to pick any book that you have on the shelf. I mean, and not have to finish the one book and then move on to the next one, which that's fine too. That's how you feel like you need to work in it. I think the main thing that we want to to leave you with this is that you do what you want to do, but do it for yourself and enjoy the process. Don't let it bog you down that you're not doing what you want to do and have fun with it, you know? And that's what we want to get across.
I do like that no journal left behind. I do like that, Bree. Or did Bree say that? Yeah, no journal left behind. That's true. No journal is left ever behind. I don't neglect any of them.
Yeah. She uses them. And I think Courtney does the same thing. She has journals where she just will work on it and then put it away and then come back to it. So that's really, you know.
I think it's okay. I don't know why it's not okay. I don't know why we have like a guilt that we have to use something from start to finish, or we have to go from left to right. Like, you can work in the back, you can randomly open it, you can do it wherever you want. There is no rules. You can do whatever, however. I don't know why or who came up with that, or why we feel that guilt. I don't know why that's there.
Yeah, so we're all going to try to start going that direction. It's going to be hard.
It's liberating.
It's
Just
hard
wait.
for me to do. I mean,
it's liberating.
I'm not so bogged down with trying to finish a book, but I definitely have only a certain amount of books that I'm working on at the same time. You know.
Why? Why do you limit yourself?
I know, because sometimes I think, well, why am I limiting the size? And I want to use this paper, but no, I got to do it on this because this is the paper I'm using right now.
Right. See, and then you wasted all the time not journaling.
And thinking about all that for nothing, right? And, I mean, that could go in other aspects of life. You know, when we worry too much about certain things, it's like, what's the point? You're just wasting time. So let me see. I am so surprised. I have journaled since January a couple times a week. I love it. Oh, that's great,
Good.
Sandra. I go, what's this? Backwards, and I leave the middle empty.
Well, that's okay.
There you
Maybe
go.
you can come back to the middle then, you know, or not.
2 years from now.
Yeah, or don't. And it's not there. That's the life of the. That's it. That's the life it lived, or it has more life. You'll see. It's kind of the fun part of that. I think the fun story.
So we're gonna start doing that, guys. Okay. So the other thing I wanted to talk about that you guys are probably aware that this year for One Book July, Romany,
Carrie Harling, and Mimi.
yeah, are doing the bullet journal method. And so I wanted her to go ahead and talk a little bit about that, why they decided to do the bullet journaling method. And I know that it's slightly different from person to person, but yet they're trying to stay true to how the author and the one who invented the bullet journaling method, they're trying to stay within the way his method is, right? And
exactly.
so I want her to go ahead and talk a little bit about
I'll answer
that.
your question real quick. So personal journaling, so like I call that my Dear Diary journaling, where I'm really doing like the soul searching, that kind of journaling. That goes in a completely separate journal, because those are very sacred thoughts, you know, very personal thoughts. So I do keep those in a very private, and I even I'm going to shamelessly plug this, but I did do an e-class, so if you guys do want to see, it's called Dear Diary It's Me, and I do share like how I do that real raw kind of journaling. Anything else, I don't really care what people see all that much, like my Fobonichis or my bullet journal, things like that. But if it's a raw, I'm having a moment with myself, I need to correct myself, and it'd be embarrassing for someone else to read that. I wouldn't bring that for Miranda to sit here and read it. Like, I wouldn't bring that kind of journaling. And then to go back to the One Book July, so I can't believe it's been 6 years. This is our 6th year bringing One Book July forward. And this year, when we were looking for topics, which we kind of do initially when we started it, it was just the one book and the one pen to kind of do away with all the extra noise that was in the community. And then we've introduced something new every year. And this year, I was reading the bullet journal method that Ryder Carroll had written, the book that I had gotten for Christmas. And I had so many aha moments and so many light bulbs going off that I said, we have to do this year. We have to bring this book back, because I thought that the way that bullet journaling was being done in the community was completely different than what Ryder Carroll had written in the book. And I had asked the ladies, I said, am I missing, like, something is, like, do we miss something? That Ryder Carroll put out a video and I didn't know about it, or what had happened? And so once we started really kind of diving into this, we really thought we have something here that we really need to talk about and bring some light to it. So hopefully some of you guys are doing the challenge this year with us, because it's been really fun.
And so do you have a certain way of, a certain method? I mean, how are you exactly doing your own?
Okay, so one of the biggest things that I took away from the book was this not setting up. And it goes with the theme of the One Book July, is just the pen and just the notebook. So once again, no setting up, which I had seen a lot of, where people were doing a weekly spread, and where people were doing, all these different things, like trackers and Netflix watch lists and reading. All this stuff was being set up. And I think it was a setup for failure, or for people to feel like they had to do something to have this beautiful spread, or have this section in their notebook. And it's been very liberating to not do that, and just have a blank page and work from that. And if you need a section, you create a collection and move forward with it. And then things are found, so the method is brought back beautifully in full circle with the index. So if you do need to find something, you have an index to refer back to that. So it's very simple. And then also Ryder brings in not only a way of organizing our thoughts, but also how to live our lives. And that was something I didn't feel was being portrayed all that much in the community, was how to live life happily. And that is by following a method that helps get things out of our minds. And also, when you're getting things out of your mind, you're achieving more. You're maybe hopefully writing your dreams down, or your goals down, or whatever, and you are able to do more in that way. So I felt like that wasn't really being said very much with the book, and that was very liberating to just have, again, the book with a pen.
Someone says, I loved your YouTube video showing an example of rapid logging. So the rapid logging, she said, is really helpful for her.
Awesome. I'm glad that you got something from there. I think that was so revolutionary for me to have that. And that was just this, for someone who hasn't seen the video, all I had shared was that we have a conscious stream of thought. We're never just sitting without thoughts in our head. We're always thinking of something, even though we think we're not. Even though we're daydreaming in space, we still have some sort of thought. And so Ryder shares, have your book open and just jot this constant stream of thoughts, and you'll be shocked at what comes out, whether it's books you want to read, a dream that you had, something you want to journal about later. So a lot of times I found that very helpful with being busy with 3 kids, is I can't just open up a journal and be, intimate with myself for 20 minutes, with a journal. I can have a feeling, jot that down in there, and then when I go to review it later, I can have those 5-10 minutes where I would need with a journal, or a book that I came across. I'll just jot that down very quickly, or a podcast I want to check out later. I'm not missing things, and then I'm not having those thoughts later on, what was it that I wanted to check out, or what did I want to journal about, what did Ro want to say to me again? These are great things that you want to jot down in that conscious kind of rapid logging, and that was very helpful. It's really wonderful and easy too.
And here's another thing to think about, is that how many times, I know for myself, I've done this, where I wake up in the morning and I kind of forgot to put my my planner specific next to me, and so when I get up, and so when I want to go jot something down, instead of just having that one book to jot down, I think, oh wait, I gotta wait until I go downstairs during breakfast where I could write it down. And then I forget what it was I was gonna write down.
Mm-hmm. It's gone, yeah. So that's why you just write it wherever you need to write it. Get it out. And
I don't think what we're trying to say here is that you can't have more than one book. It's that it would be good to have the one book, to where you can process a lot of things in that one book, and then maybe have a sketchbook on the side for this, or a memory keeping book on the side for this, where you could take that time to work on those projects or on those pages another day when you have an hour or 2 or what have you.
Right.
Whereas this one book is your life.
It's like your scratch pad. It's like your everything. It's like you have that with you. It's your ride or die. So whether you make it messy, whether you make it whatever, it's there always, no matter what. It's like this personal assistant with you, right? It's always with you, no matter what. And it doesn't. You can't feel like, oh, this is so precious, I can only do something like this in there. Or it can't be like that. And I think that's why Ryder brought something so simple like a black moleskin in his initial video, because it's something that isn't technically that precious, where you spent like $60 for Tomoe river paper that's cut down to your perfect size and has doctorate whatever. He brought something so simple, like that pen and that black notebook that's relatively accessible to everyone, so that it feels like something you can carry with you. You can always have it with you, and you want to jot that conscious stream of thought that you're having. It's from Harry Potter, Dumbledore's pensive. You know, where he takes those things and he puts them into that fountain, and he can retrieve them later. That's like what you can see that bullet journal method as.
And here's another thing: you guys don't have to do this just in July. You could start this at any time. You could start right now.
Oh yeah.
You know, watch their videos. But definitely, if this is something you want to try, just try it. You know, and see how it works out for you. Now, next month, maybe you want to do something else, and that's okay. But give this a chance and see if this will work out for you. And it's not going to be the all-in-one everything for everybody. It's gonna be different, and I think I want to stress that, because you know, we get on a bandwagon of something like this. I'm very excited about this because it's something I've been struggling with too. I have different planners, and then I have this for my business and that, and I've always, a couple of years ago, I wanted to put everything in one, but it was really kind of difficult. And this is before I knew about bullet journaling, and it was kind of difficult because of trying to keep them separate in a sense. So I've always kind of kept them separate. It would be nice to have one book for all of that, so that that's all I carried, you know. So,
but if you want to, you can still go to others.
Yeah, exactly. But just, you know, just try it. Don't get bogged down. We're not trying to get you to think that this is the only way to do it, and we can't do what we're already doing today. It's just something that you might want to try to help you.
Something to tweak. It's for those people. It's a method, so I think that I had to stress that a lot in the videos, because for me, I thought it was like he was selling us a planner, like a way of being, but instead he's just teaching us a way of living. So even if you don't have it in the notebook, the book stresses things about, like, because it's a journal. So he's also got journal prompts in there that are wonderful. And he talks about like time boxing. So for us folks who feel like we dread chores or we dread something, he'll cover this time boxing, which I'd done in college. So when you're studying, you feel dread thinking, oh my goodness, I have an exam. But if you break it down and you say, if I study today for 30 minutes, tomorrow for 30 minutes, there's light at the end of the tunnel. So you don't dread it quite as much. And he calls that time boxing, which is wonderful, because if you do that in your bullet journal, so if you were to look at your day and say, you know what, I hate folding laundry, but I'm going to fold laundry for 10 minutes today. You see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you start it at the beginning of your day. So you put things that you dread the most in the earlier part of your day, so that when you look forward to the things that you like later on, instead of like procrastinating and leaving the worst that you hate to the end of the day, get it over with. Give the 10 minutes to the laundry that I absolutely loathe. I'm going to give it the 10 minutes in the morning, and then at the end of the day, I'm going to dedicate it to watching a YouTube video or reading a book or journaling. So you kind of learn a process. So not necessarily just the bullet journal method, but like a process. And then my own personal challenge, because I'm a planner addict. I have, my name is Vicky and I like planners. That is my thing. I wanted to see if I can force this method into that little box or that little like structure, and I've been very successful with it in a pocket-sized moleskin, nonetheless. It's been not as challenging as I thought, because the method is just a way of living. So in the moleskin, all I'm doing is writing down little tidbits, and it fits. And if I need more, I have a field notes notebook, and I have an entire room dedicated to notebooks that I can write in if I need to. So it's been a really great feeling to just adopt those ways, not just a book or whatever. It's adopting a way.
Now, are you going to do more videos on like excerpts from the bullet journal method?
Yes. So currently, I actually have 30 podcasts, and I've covered a good deal of the book in my podcasts.
and please let them know how to get a hold of those podcasts and other resources.
Sure. So my podcasts are actually on my Patreon. So the $5 tier on my Patreon will give you access to the podcast. So if you want to hear me, like if you're a big podcast person, which I love podcasts because you can just kind of put in some headphones and listen to the person. I cover a great deal of the books, like quotes that really touched me or things that really worked well. Those are all on my Patreon. So if you log in to the $5 tier, you'll have access to all 30 of them. And then I have bonus footage on my Patreon. And then I also, for One Book July, have videos on my YouTube. So there are videos already out this month that I put out, even at the end of June that I put out. There will be more continuing on with the month. And then I have like bonus, more candid videos on Patreon. So you guys can see more there.
And so how do you get on the Patreon?
So the Patreon where you would go is you would go to Miss VickyBee on Patreon. So you go to patreon.com and you look for my name, you look for Miss VickyBee, and then you find me. There's like a page kind of dedicated to it, so you'll be able to find me on there, and you kind of sign up and check things out. There's like little, I guess, sneak peeks that you can kind of see things. But if you followed me on YouTube or you want to more kind of see me more, I think I don't even know how many videos out there, but it's been however many years, 8 years or whatever, or 7 or 8 years that I've been on YouTube. So there's a lot of content if you guys want to see any of that, or years past One Book July videos. There's playlists for all that on there also.
And that is something actually that I think is a good idea, is to be able to go back and look at even the other One Book July episodes, because then it gives you an idea, and maybe you can tailor fit what will work for you and what method that you want to take on. And I think that she gives a lot of content. She's been around for a long time. She's very much invested in the journaling community, and I think that's really wonderful. And I think that she's definitely worth supporting in that sense. And being someone who has also made videos, I will tell you it is very difficult to make one video. It's not easy. Yeah. That is why I haven't had a video in a long time uploaded, because it just takes a lot of time. And Vicky is one of those who gives a lot of herself in those videos, and I really do love the candidness that you have, where you can see her personality, and she's very real, you guys. I mean, what you see on video truly is who she is. She's such a lovely lady, you know, and not, how do I put this? She will give you her opinion in a very nice and kind way, but she's very real, you know, and we need more of that, I think. And so I highly recommend getting on her Patreon, and I think I'm going to do that this week. Seriously,
I'm honored that you want to do that. I really am. I'm honored with anybody who watches me on YouTube, who interacts with me, because you guys don't realize how much you give me by interacting with me. I came onto YouTube looking for a community, looking for friends, like-minded individuals, and when you guys interact with me, when Rowena wanted to meet with me today, it fills me to the brim with happiness. It really does. It brings me a lot of joy when you guys are just interacting, even on YouTube or Instagram, wherever you guys like to be. It means the world to me.
And you know, a lot of times when we see people on YouTube, I think that we think, wow, you know, that they're going to be different, or they don't have time, or, you know, those kind of things. And sometimes that happens, you know, but like I said, Vicky is very real, you guys, and she's just a sweet lady. And so I'm so glad that we took the time to meet up finally, because we've talked about it, I think.
Oh my gosh, for a long time.
But I kind of forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of forgot that she's in Chicago until like a couple of days ago. And so I just thought, oh, she's going to be so busy. She's got 3 kids. But you know, I didn't want to stop myself from doing that. I thought, well, if she can meet for 30 minutes, great. I just want to give her a hug. That's what I told her. Mm-hmm. And so she was able to meet up with me, and I get to share her with you guys. Yeah. And so do you guys have any other questions or comments for Vicky?
I am Miss VickyBee on Patreon, yes. Yep, that's my handle on there. It should be all across most social media. It should be.
Yeah, and hopefully you're following her on Instagram also, and on YouTube. So are there any questions, you guys? Okay, I've watched your videos on YouTube but haven't for a while. I didn't realize you had a Patreon. What paper planner are you using currently? Is there going to be a baby number 4?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I would have like 6 kids. But my husband doesn't feel the same way, so I think we're done with 3. But I would be okay with 6. I'd be okay with 10. I love kids. I absolutely adore them. Paper planners, I currently have been trying to do the one book. And so with the one book, I've been in the Moleskin, and I've also
expanded.
Moleskin expanded, Moleskin pocket, an Exceed journal from Walmart, and the Life Shrunk. So there's a couple of them, and the Weeks, and I use a Hobonichi Cousin. I use them all.
By the way, we do have journals that fit the expanded.
If I can show it, let me show it.
And you said that was a G1 one?
This
an
is the A5
modified.
Yep.
Okay, it fits in an A5 modified, and she has a soft cover.
Yeah, so this is the soft cover. The expanded Moleskin goes into this guy.
Yes, I'm doing a one book July. Picked up the book on your recommendation.
Awesome.
As a new mom, what advice would you give to someone like me? I have a 7-month-old.
I have a 7-month-old too. He's my baby. I have to say, and I was just telling Rowena this, like, I'm obsessed with living in that moment. So I try to burn in my retinas like every moment. So when you feel defeated or you feel like, oh my gosh, why won't they just sleep? Why won't, like, I don't have a minute to myself? Just think that those are like fleeting moments. So when they don't sleep at night, enjoy it, because you want to hold them and cuddle them, because when they're like 3 and 4, they don't want you to hold them and cuddle them like that anymore. When they're 7, they definitely don't. So just enjoy every phase. Don't wish your days away. Don't wish your months away. Don't wish your years away. Don't think when they're older this will be easier. Don't do any of that. Just enjoy that little moment that you have, because 7 months is like my favorite little like sack of flour. I just love them. They're just the best. They're the best.
That is really, really sound advice. Really.
And she has bigger kids, and so
2 grown kids.
I was asking her, like, how do you feel once they're like bigger and they no longer are constantly following you or needing something, so we were just kind of chatting back and forth about that, because that's like one of my obsessions, is to like remember them as kiddos.
It's wonderful advice. Enjoy babies. I love my children, but miss my toddlers. Yes.
And it's a struggle with toddlers. So I have a 6.5-year-old, a 2.5-year-old, and a 7-month-old. And the toddler is very challenging. But when I look at her, I'm like, oh, they're so cute. They're challenging, but they're so cute.
Wants to know when your 7-month-old.
So you're 12, 7, 18. He is 12, 17, 18. So we're 10 days apart.
They need you more, but in a different way. In different ways, yes.
Yeah. That's what I hear. Like, bigger kids, bigger problems. Like, now their problems are wet diapers, and then like when they're bigger, they're gonna need money or something. Even though my toddler hits me up for money all the time.
Fortunately enough for me, that hasn't been the case.
Good. I mean, I think that means you have very good adult children.
So far. That's so sweet. Thank you for your advice. Yes,
Yeah.
It's really good advice.
Because I think as a new mom, I remember feeling that like defeat. You feel tired and you think like, where is my life gone to? But
it's a season.
It is. It goes away so fast. It feels like forever, but it goes so fast. I was just telling Roman, I can't even remember that I was pregnant 3 times. Like, when someone asks me that, I'm like, wait, I'm a mom. Like, those things don't even sink in, and how quickly it goes by.
When I think about, that's why my tagline is documenting life as it happens, is because like for her, she wants to document those memories. But if we're so bogged down in what book we're going to put it in, and all of that, then we don't end up writing it down, and then we miss it.
Right.
And it goes so quickly. So, and then worrying about how you're going to word it, what you're going to draw next to it, just do it right at that moment. Do whatever it is, jot it down, even if it's on a list form, it doesn't really matter. That will jog your memory when you go back to it, and we'll remember those moments. And so do it however you want to do it.
Yeah, and I think with your kids, one of the best things to look at also is like, they never care as much as like what we care. So like, take almost some advice with them. Like, when I give my daughter a coloring book for markers. Like, she's not precious at all, right? Like, she rips the box open of markers. But like me, I spend like a good 20 minutes just like examining it in like the case. Like, I look at it and I take it out and I'm like really precious with it. I don't want to scuff it. The kids just tear into it. And like a notebook, you might like you're slowly turning the pages. You're like, oh, this is new, this is precious. The kids just like go right in it, and they like try and keep that in mind too. Like, think about how unprecious they are.
So someone's asking that she stays with her child all day, and my husband feels like we don't get enough time together.
Sure.
What do you do then?
It's a total season, right? So then then I'm sure Ravana can say now you're with him a lot compared to when you were with kids. So I think I share that with my husband all the time. Like, I totally wish it was just us again sometimes. And so I try, like, in the evening, we pick shows that we really love. So it's been Stranger Things, and that's where we like sit down and we look forward to it every night. Like, we put the kids to bed and then we're gonna put on Stranger Things. Or if your guilty pleasure is like The Bachelorette or whatever it is, find something that brings you guys together, so that you're kind of feeling like you're dating. I always treat my husband like I'm dating him, so I never not treat like I'm not dating. So I always get dolled up for him. You know, I mean, I shouldn't say always, but I try as much as I can to like look presentable for my husband so that it looks like we're kind of dating. And when we do go out to dinner, when we do have that moment, like, I act like we're going out on a date for real. Like, he just picked me up. Like, I make him open the car door. Like, I do all the things to make it fun, like as if we were dating, and keep it exciting in that way instead of just being like, oh, whatever. I also think it's important to always like thank your significant other for stuff. So I don't ever assume he should be doing something. I always like thank him for doing that kind of stuff too. So I try and think of it that way. And it's just a season. You'll get time with him again too. They'll get bigger and more independent. You'll have more time with your husband again.
I do want to jump in about that a little bit. Okay, you read this. I want to jump in on that a little bit, is that you need to keep in mind that when your kids are grown, you're still left with your husband. And I don't mean that in a bad, negative way. I'm just saying that you need to cultivate that relationship. And so you need, I get it that you have kids and that they need you. I get that. But we easily can go into that mode and forget about our husbands, and they have needs too. And really, you have needs too, like going on date nights, you know. So you need to make it happen however you're going to do, whether you get a sitter, whether you put them to bed early. And you know, we would do things like, a lot of times we did it as a family. My husband would come home, we would put out a blanket, and we'd have tea in front of the television or whatever, and we just enjoy each other's company. You could do something like that with just your husband. Or you could just, but I would stress the fact that you don't want to be looking back and looking at your kids once they're grown and they're in college, and you look at each other and go, we have nothing in common. Things are going to change. There's an adjustment period. We have an adjustment period. Not having the kids at home now. We still have an adjustment period because I have a business that I'm running solely myself too. And so all of the dynamic is there, but I guess I want to stress that you need to spend that time with your husband as well. You need to look at him as being very important. And what she says, I totally agree with, is that you do need to look good for your husband. Too many times we get so tired and we're working with, or we're with the kids. I mean, I'm a homeschool mom. I homeschool both of my girls, and I could easily wake up in the morning and put sweats on, not put any makeup, and not take a shower. But I never did that. Pretty much never. Every morning I would get ready, I would get dressed, I would get myself ready, and it's the same thing with my daughters. They would get ready to sit and start doing their schoolwork, and we had a dedicated area in our home where we did that. I felt that was very important. And it's important because we don't want to just look good for the world, for the rest of the people. We want first and foremost to look good for our husbands. And so don't let that go. I think that's just really very important.
Nobody sees me usually aside from my husband because I'm at home all day. But it's fun when he comes home and he's like, oh, you look so pretty, you look so nice. Or like, he gets so used to that, you know, like, and me not being, but it makes me feel good too. You know, I want to look good and I want to show my kids too, like, you shouldn't let yourself go just because you had a change in your life. You shouldn't, let it go. I do want to think, I'm not sure who said that they were,
You're inspiring with the
over
memory
the quitting.
keeping.
Thank you so much for being a patron and for taking one of my journaling classes. I greatly appreciate that, and I totally think you should go see Lion King. If you get a sitter, jump on that. Definitely go and do that and enjoy your time. Like, I love when it's just my husband and I. You know, it's exciting again that we are just, you know, solo, and I like I said, treat it like, think it back to when you were first dating, you know, have him buy you a drink, and or if you don't, whatever, you know, have him pretend like he's paying for you. You know, like, we share an account, my husband and I, but I'm like, you know, can you buy me a drink, or can you pay for dinner or whatever, just to make it fun, and, you know, have fun with it, enjoy it.
Someone's just asking about my leather. You know, you can always email us and ask those kinds of questions, but I'll just answer real quick. Is Stag a cool brown? I'm not sure what a cool brown is.
I think it's more of a warm brown, like that chocolatey. Stag is more chocolate.
Yeah, it's more chocolate, and it's got a little bit more of a orangey feel to
it's
it.
more warm
Yeah.
than it is cool.
Okay. But yeah, email if you have any questions at all. Oh, no. Don't be sorry about it. I just don't want to, in case you guys have questions for Vicky. But no, don't be sorry about it. Thank you for asking. And like I said, you can always email us and ask us questions about the leather, the thickness, whatever, all of that. Anybody else have any questions? And I really enjoyed your, it's Cawthon 20. We really enjoyed your interaction here.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
the questions
Thank you.
that she's given. I mean, those are good questions for her, especially being a young mom.
I guess I want to say that for Rowena too, just like, thank you for letting me meet you today.
Oh, for
and
sure.
She brought me a little gift, which is so nice. And, you know, just you reaching out to me. I want to thank you for reaching out to me, because a lot of people don't think to reach out. So if you want to reach out, you know, anytime, just try it. You know, don't not try it. Try and reach out if you want to. I'm just seeing a real quick, what kinds of content is on your Patreon. So if you watched a lot of my YouTube channel from years past, a lot of it is heavily focused on planners and journaling, but I also do other, like, creative outlet things too. Like, I'll do coloring books, I'll do art projects, I'll do all kinds of different creative things too, but it is pretty heavily focused on planners and journaling. But if you are curious, you can always check a ton of my videos. I probably have I've been on for a lot of years, so I don't even know how long it would take you to get through all the videos, but there's a lot of content you can get through and maybe get an idea of the things that I put out. What is in it? So it's actually just kind of like an everything journal. So I put like Dear Diary type things in here. So it's all kinds of writing. I'll put notes on things in here.
Are your classes within Patreon too?
So my classes are actually on my Etsy. So if you go on my Etsy, you'll be able to find all my classes are on there. And I think I have 3 classes on there right now. I have a Dear Diary, It's Me class. I have an art journal, like a daily journaling one, and I have one more out there. So I think I have 3 on there right now. And I'm working on a Dear Diary, It's Me Again class that'll be up hopefully soon. So this is just filled with kind of everything. I have like some Dear Diary journaling in here, and stuff just flies out everywhere, guys.
So thank you so much for answering all of my questions.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for asking.
Yes.
It's stuck.
Thanks
you guys for asking.
So if you have any other questions, now's your time. Hurry. It's been so lovely meeting her, you guys.
It's been really fun. It's really
been
nice.
Great.
Yeah. It's so nice.
Oh, and she drew something for me. You guys want to see?
She asked me to draw on her notebook, which I didn't know could do that, but I think it's really fun.
Well, I did that over at the open house as well.
Fun.
So, and in fact, the one that we gave away, we had a giveaway for every person that came.
Mm-hmm.
It was the new design in the Rogue,
That's
and
so
we
cool.
actually signed. We signed our names on it. We put our names on it. Yeah, I never posted about that.
It's awesome. See, you post all these
Yeah,
things.
but look at that. How fun. So I wanted to do this for everyone who I'm going to meet up with here in Canada and for future.
It's a really great notebook too. I'm gonna have to put that on my to buy list.
Wow. Yeah, I know, right? I'm going to wait to read it. Very neat. That's Suzanne from Canada. So, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. So amazing. Lori said, and Lori, you're going to be writing in it too. So I'll be seeing you soon. So fun. Yes, Vicky is, I love this lady.
Aw, thank you.
I mean, I've
It's
always
been fun.
liked her, watching her videos, and I've always enjoyed just listening to her, you know, but really getting to meet her in person has just been like,
It's been so nice.
because she's
It's
so
nice.
real, you know, and I love that. I love it when people are just so real that, you know, they don't put on a facade. So it's been great. Can't wait to see you. Me too. We'll be seeing you soon. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I will post this on YouTube soon. And
Thank you
Let
guys
us-
for asking all the questions
Yes.
and interacting. Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah.
you guys.
and let them know once again what your name is on the social media.
Everywhere across the board is Miss VickyBee. So if you put it into YouTube, if you put it on Patreon, if you put it on Etsy, you should be finding everything there.
Take care, lovelies.
Bye,
You too, Courtney. Talk to you soon. Okay, love you guys. As usual, keep on documenting life as it happens. Bye-bye.